And welcome back. Did you know that 91% of Americans think it is very important to be prepared for emergencies, but of course, a little over half of us have done anything about it. In the time when fires and hurricanes and blackouts seem to be more and more prevalent, it is important that all families take steps to be prepared for the unexpected. Well, Alicia Rockmore is here, and she's joined with Nancy Meyer. She lives in Laguna Beach, and they're here to talk about how to be prepared for any type of emergency. Thank you very much for being here, both of you. Hi. You're going to tell us how to be prepared, and you're going to tell us a little bit about what happened to you. You were a resident of Laguna Beach during the big firestorms.
Yeah. Right. 14 years ago, Laguna had a very major fire, and we lost almost 400 homes.
That was devastating.
It was that moment when I knew that our family had to be prepared.
You know, it's times like that that you go, okay, got one freebie, and now I've got to get it together. How many of us, you know, when September 11th or any of these things, did we get it together? You know,
and you not only have to get it together, but you have to keep it together. You have to revisit things like an emergency plan every 6 months, so it keeps top of mind for everybody in the family.
Yeah, so like when you hit up your water supply when you need it, then you replenish it later. So what did you do? What have you learned from this?
I've learned that every member of my family has an emergency backpack. I gave them out as gifts, whether, you know, for the holidays. And we have out-of-state contact, so we can all keep track of each other, know where we are, and have a meeting spot.
What in particular did you realize you weren't prepared about when the fire was approaching your home?
I wasn't prepared to know where we would meet, how we would be in touch with each other, because things were not important to me, but the people, my family was. So how are we all going to connect? How are we going to know that we were okay? That was important. And I've also learned that I keep valuables and things like our family photos in a duffel bag. Things that I don't want to have out, they're in the duffel bag to grab and go.
Keep it all in a concentrated area. Okay, so maybe the two of you can walk us through and show us some great ideas how we can be prepared.
I mean, let's start with a plan. If you do nothing else from watching this segment other than give everybody in your family an out-of-state, important that it has to be out-of-state, contact to check in with in the event of an emergency, you will have done a lot. Because what ends up happening when there's an emergency or a disaster, oftentimes cell phones don't work and lines and circuits are busy in state.
We have come to rely on that so much. Oh, I'll just call. I'll just call on my cell phone.
Sometimes you can't. So if everybody has a contact that you can dial quickly and say, I'm okay. You may not be able to get together quickly, but everybody knows
who to call
and everybody's okay. It was one of the biggest issues if you think back to Katrina. People couldn't find their families for days and days, where in the end, thankfully, they turned out to be okay, but there was a lot of needless worry. This is something that we do at home, which is we literally put together a visual map of an emergency plan. It's important in particular for a fire and for children to give them two ways out of the house. It could be a front door, it could be a back door, but it's really important, and show everybody visually. Take a family dinner, take 10 minutes every 6 months and say, do you remember how to get out of the house?
So when you spend that panic moment realizing something really terrible is happening, you're not thinking, what should I do? You're thinking, oh, I need to refer to my plan.
That's exactly it.
And it's going to tell you what?
It's going to tell you just very simply how to get out. You know, if you have a fire escape ladder, where the two ways to get out are. Yeah, it's very, very simple and basic.
All right.
The other thing that I like to tell people, and these are bigger so that you can see them a little bit, but make a credit card size piece of information, or pick up something like a pocket doc, which is at the Container Store, so that everybody can carry with them in their wallet or a kid's backpack all the emergency information. Here's who you call for out of state. Here's where important things are that you want to remember to grab. It's very simple. You can get them laminated at a place like Kinko's, and then you have them.
Keep one in your car, keep one you know, wherever you can access it really
And if you never need it, that's great. If you need it, you're prepared. Nancy talked about these Red Cross backpacks. I love these because you can put them in your car. Think about it. It could be a fire, it could be an earthquake, it could be a blackout.
Absolutely anywhere.
Right. Keep them in the trunk of your car. Everything's in there, you're prepared. Let's talk about these. It's a valuables doc and a life doc. So one of the things people worry about if they've suffered damage from a fire is, am I properly insured? You know what? It's difficult to get all of your money back unless you take the time to properly document and make sure you have the right insurance. And something like a valuables doc, these are both available at Target, helps you do that. So you actually go room by room and write down whether it's your TV or your, you know, expensive clothes that you want to make sure actually get reimbursed at full cost, or it's jewelry. Everything's in there. You grab that, you take it with you. we can talk about an emergency kit.
Yeah, what should be in an emergency kit? I have a vague idea. A little bit of cash, a little bit of water.
Enough water, 1 gallon per person for 3 days. And you should rotate that. So, you know, don't leave it there for 2 years and expect it to be good. Put it in there, and as you buy new water, rotate it back and forth.
Maybe, you know, every few times you go to the supermarket and use water, rotate it through there.
But here are the critical things. You want to have a first aid kit, and people say, you know, what do you put in a first aid kit? I think the easiest thing to do is literally pick up at a mass merchandiser a put together first aid kit. You'll make sure that everything's in there that you need. You want to have food. Things with pop top cans makes it easy. Peanut butter is a great protein source, so if you're ever in a place where you can't get food, you've got your emergency food there. And then the things that you don't want to forget: medicine, you know, especially if it's prescription medicine, a radio with batteries or a hand-cranked radio. And if you're doing a radio with batteries, don't put the batteries in them, keep them out, and make sure you have extra batteries, because you want to be able to stay in touch and understand what's going on, and probably your TV won't work, and anything that plugs in isn't going to work. So you want to have that for communication. Some sort of an outdoor tool, a knife, so that if you need some way to get out, you've got it. Flashlights, again, with plenty of batteries. And then this is a great thing. It's called Mayday Food Supply. And literally,
it looks delicious.
You know, I'm not promising
food in here?
It is food, high calorie, high protein.
Danger, danger all over it.
You know what? If you are in a situation and you need
it,
you'll be glad you have it. It probably doesn't taste great. Most mass merchandisers sell things like this. You can also find it online.
Okay. Now, we just have a few seconds left, so what are the other important things we need to get to?
Don't forget the baby. So when you're packing your emergency
kit,
kit,
bring the baby with you.
Bring the baby and also diapers and formula
and supplies
and
pets.
The
pet. Yeah,
pet
pack
food.
it all and
all of it has to be in your emergency kit
and
make sure you're
where
prepared.
you know you need to have it.
One other tip, go to ready.gov. It's the Department of Homeland Security's website. They make it really easy for families, for kids to know exactly what you need to be prepared.
And another reminder to us to do it now. Do it this time.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alicia. Thanks, Nancy. And if you would like some more information on getting organized, you can always check out Alicia's website and get buttonedup.com. We'll be right back.